What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Rideshare Hub. My name's Greg. We do have some final results on Prop 22. Obviously, in comparison to everything else that's being voted on, this is very small. But the good news is, guys, it has passed. This is very good. Obviously, those 60 drivers that blockaded a street in LA that didn't want it, they're probably a little upset. But I can't imagine why you would have wanted AB5 over Prop 22. For anybody who really hasn't followed what's going on, this is actually like a huge win. AB5 would have been arguably the end of Uber and Lyft. It probably would have passed in a ton of other states eventually too. It just would have become a thing, you know? So Prop 22 is a big win. Now, my whole stance from the get-go has basically been like, we didn't need Prop 22 in the first place, and I think, like, obviously AB5 was being proposed, you know, by California. So there's not much you can do about that, but yeah, I just think the way everyone went about the whole process of this was kind of ridiculous. But Prop 22 is a win. If AB5 had gone through, like, what that would have looked like, it would have meant limited hours. It would have meant a huge decrease in the number of drivers that would be available to drive. It would have meant that certain zones in a city you wouldn't be able to drive in. So, you know, there'd be certain areas where they would only allow X amount of drivers in an area at a time, and so even if you drop off in that area, you would still have to like drive out of that area to then, you know, pick up a ride. So AB5 all in all would have sucked. And the thing is like, what I really can't stand is like the people that were like boycotting Prop 22 and going on strike and demanding they be treated as employees, because what did you expect when you signed up to drive for Uber and Lyft? That was kind of where I was at from the get-go. It was like, what did you really think this was going to be? Did you think this was going to be a dream job? Did you think this was going to be a 40-year career and you get a 401k and health insurance? Like, no, you're an independent contractor. That's the whole point, is you don't get any of that stuff, but the trade-off is that you get flexibility, time freedom, and you don't have a boss, you know, up your butt about everything. So I don't know what people's expectations were that wanted AB5 is basically my point. It's one thing if Uber and Lyft was once like a normal employment type job and then they switched, but it has always been what it is. The only thing that's really changed with Uber and Lyft is we just have made less and less money over the years, but the overall model is the exact same. You drive on your time, when you want, however much you want, and that's what being an independent contractor generally means. So what does Prop 22 look like? Well, Prop 22 guarantees minimum wage. Now, we went over this. What does that mean? It means nothing, because whenever Uber and Lyft guarantee anything, all that means is it means nothing. And why do I say that? Because, you know, going back to their earnings models, when they had a little bonus they would push, and they would say, drive X amount of rides, and you're going to make a guaranteed $500. What a lot of people who don't really interpret that the right way think is that if they give X amount of rides, they're getting $500. Well, no, that's just a normal bonus. Their guarantees would be if you gave those allotted rides and didn't make $500, they will cover the difference. That is the same thing with their minimum wage model. Basically, they're going to take the hours you were on the app, and if you didn't make minimum wage, they will cover the difference so that you did make minimum wage. Now, here's why you will probably never hit that, because, and again, we went over this already, so this is just a quick catch-up, but this that is not including your time while waiting for rides. This is only going to include time that a passenger is in the vehicle, and then I believe when you're en route to pick them up. Actually, I don't even know if it's that. No. Yes, it is. But yeah, so there's a third of the time that you're on the app that won't count. So let's put it this way. Let's say, you know, you were on the app, Uber and Lyft, for 10 hours. Okay? So, I mean, 3 hours of that time isn't even going to be like, that's not even going to count towards that minimum wage. So the odds of you working 10 hours and not making minimum wage on Uber and Lyft, I'm just going to let you know, are very slim. You either don't know how to like really use the app effectively if you don't, or you literally just had an anomaly of a day and ended up with the worst rides known to man, which again, I would argue is still more your fault than anything else. You know, then maybe it'll work out. But again, like minimum wage, I mean, I think it's like 120% of minimum wage too. So like in most areas, I would guess this is going to look like anywhere from $12 to $14 an hour is what that would look like. Now, I really don't know how many days of running both apps where I didn't make minimum wage in 2/3 of the time I was driving that day. I just don't even think it's possible. So I just didn't get excited about Prop 22 because I'm like, you know, this isn't actually offering anything, you know. I've heard the health benefits are pretty crummy too. Like, you know, I mean, I guess that is probably the best part that came out of this, is that we are going to get some level of health benefits, but I'm just starting to feel like this is going to be the thing where practically it's like you never use it or it never works out. I've just seen this same trend from Uber and Lyft year after year after year. Whenever they run into a major issue, you know, they come out with some new idea, some new thing, and they put it into action. And it really never benefits the drivers. Like, this is like, you guys got to understand, this is their way of staying legal. Obviously that, like, their entire business model was being threatened like that, and that's why they put so much money into Prop 22. Uber and Lyft and like a few of the other giants of delivery and whatever else had all banded together and put something like almost $200 million together total for this Prop 22, which was I can't remember the exact verbiage, but it was like, I believe it was like the highest amount of money ever put towards like a bill like that, which is insane, but you can see why they did it, because if AB5 had passed, I'm telling you, it would have destroyed Uber and Lyft. That would have been the end. But Prop 22 won by pretty much a landslide. It was something like 57 or 58% of votes, as opposed to like 41 or 42% for AB5. So, and I don't imagine that a lot of the AB5 votes actually came from drivers. I think that came from LA folk who are just tired of the congestion. Thing is, you can go back before Uber and Lyft, and LA's always been a mess. Like, that's not anything new. So yeah, basically you get the guaranteed minimum wage, which I doubt you'll ever actually see any guaranteed earnings coming from that, because to literally drive for 10 hours and to need to make minimum wage in 7 of those hours, like I said, it's just like, it's insane to me if you don't do that naturally, right? So I don't see that benefiting. I could be very, very wrong on the health benefits. I just don't see myself personally ever using them. I don't think a lot of you, once it really comes down to it, will ever use them. I feel like there's going to be some catch or little trick in it when it comes down to actually using those benefits. So yeah, I don't think it's really going to work, but we'll see. So all in all, like, what have we really learned from this whole situation? We've learned that there are some drivers that are literally complete idiots. If you would have ever considered voting for AB5, I'm sorry, but that's like just so foolish, because there is pretty much an 80% chance that you would not be an Uber or Lyft driver if AB5 passed. Like, I don't know who they would have decided stays and who goes. I don't know if they would have catered to veteran drivers. I don't think a lot of veteran drivers would have even wanted to have been Uber and Lyft drivers anymore if AB5 had passed. But yeah, all in all, I guess we can say it is a big win, because California was pushing for this. So Uber and Lyft did need to come up with something. I thought the hype around Prop 22 was stupid. I thought AB5 was stupid as well. But all in all, like, if you're choosing between the two, you're picking Prop 22, right? So we're happy about that today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon.